Hey YouTube, how's it going today? Well, the market is getting crushed, and so are a ton of stocks out there, including Tesoro Enterprises. Now, the big question is this a buying opportunity or should we start getting worried? In this video, I'm going to try to answer those questions. Plus, I have some other nice looking charts in this market, believe it or not. And then after that, I'm going to get to some of your questions. All right, guys, well, I am going to get right into it. This is the daily chart of Tesoro Enterprises, ticker symbol TSNP, and we are in the midst of another down day for Tesoro Enterprises. It's down about 14% at the moment, but it's hitting some key technical support levels. I'll get into that in a minute. But if you have high conviction in stocks, these are the type of pullbacks you want to be buying. Yes, they are the most difficult pullbacks to be buying because it's a scary looking pullback. I mean, unless you're some kind of a cyborg, you got to be feeling at least a little bit nervous if you've been holding this stock, because I don't know about you, but even when I'm in a big winner and it's pulling back, there's always that thought in the back of my head, should I have sold? Am I wrong to be holding it right now? And that's totally normal. But these are the opportunities you usually get in stocks that go on massive uptrends. There's always going to be huge pullbacks during those big upswings in the market. The only question you have to ask yourself is this a pullback or is this the beginning of the end? And of course, only time is going to tell. But when you look back on charts and find huge winners, these are the points in time when you say, man, I should have been buying that deep pullback, but that is easier said than done because these deep pullbacks can be scary. But let's get to the intraday chart. Let's go to the 15-minute chart right now. Let's back it up real quick, and we can see, there has been a lot of selling coming in the last several days, and that is a telling sign for what could be happening in the future. Like I was showing you on some of these past charts, when the green bars were coming in, that usually leads to more up movement in the future. But when you start seeing some of these coming in towards a support level, unfortunately that could lead to the stock rolling over a little bit more, but that is already done. Let's talk about what could be happening. One thing that I see in this stock as of right now is it is hitting a key Fibonacci support level. If we go back to the 19th when this move started, its move back up, we can see that coincides with the exact bottom that it made today. This is the 61.8% retracement level on the Fibonacci retracement graph, and that is the most important. That's the one that is bounced off of the most. That's usually the one that has the strongest support behind it, and it's holding it right now. So as far as I'm concerned, we are at a very important inflection point in this stock. If it can hold this level and bust above these moving averages, this could be a nice key reversal spot in TSNP. We're starting to get the acceleration in the down volume, so this could be a climax volume move. Only time is going to tell. We have to see what happens in the next day or two, but if it can hold this 61.8% retracement level and start to move higher and the volume starts to subside, this could be a really good turning point in the stock. I know I said that when it was making this triangle consolidation earlier, but I said we had to watch and wait for it to break above the trend line that I had drawn on this consolidation, and it never did. So you did not want to enter it just yet if you had been out of it, but if you were watching this support level, you wanted to watch and see if that was broken, which it was. But let me get some of this stuff off the chart. And let's go back to the daily chart. And we can also see that it's bouncing pretty much right at that 21-period exponential moving average. And I think that's a very important moving average. That's why I have that on the chart. That's probably the second most important behind the 8 exponential moving average, which is this white line on the chart. So this is a deep pullback. But if you have high conviction in this stock, these are the type of pullbacks that you want to be buying in a stock like this, or any stock, because you're going to have this big, huge move, and then once it starts rolling over, that's when the seeds of doubt are going to be sown in your mind. But like I said, when you look backwards on charts, these are the ones that you need to be buying if you have strong conviction in the stock. Now, if you watch this stock take off and you never got into it, right about now, you got to be licking your chops if you wanted to get back in, because these opportunities don't come very often. But if this is the top, I think we're going to be heading back down towards 50 cents pretty quickly. If it busts through this moving average right here and stays below it, I think the next area of support is right around 50 cents, and this 50 period simple moving average is going to be rising into that area as well. So if it breaks this 21 period exponential moving average, I think there's a pretty good shot that it's going back down to 50 cents. That might be our next area of support, and that is a pretty big drop from here. But those are the things that happen at these great buy points, because it's teetering right on the edge of a technical support level, and that's what makes it even more difficult to buy. But I just wanted to show you these support levels because I think TSNP is at a very important part in the chart. But if you were waiting for a deep pullback, this is probably going to be your opportunity. But if it does bust through this 21 period exponential moving average, we could be in for some more pain. All right, well, let's get into some other charts. All right, guys, well, before I get into some of those other charts, I do want to go over the current market action. This is the QQQ I have up, which is the ETF for the NASDAQ. And if we zoom in just a little bit here, we can see that the QQQ, or the NASDAQ, is now below this 8-period exponential moving average, which is the short-term trend direction line. That is not good, and it looks like it is starting to accelerate to the downside. It has broken through the channel that I have drawn on the Qs. Several days ago, I was keeping a sharp eye on this channel because I was thinking that it could potentially be breaking through it. And if we go to the 15-minute chart, we can see that just a little bit better. It was holding into this channel quite well for the last couple of weeks, and now it has broken through it quite aggressively, and it is continuing to follow through to the downside. We can see there is a ton of selling coming in, and I think if this market continues the way it's going today, unfortunately, this is going to be another distribution day. So by my count, that's going to be the 5th distribution day in the last couple of weeks, which is a very bad sign for the market, because usually when it gets too many of those distribution days, it will roll over and start into a correction. If it's your first time hearing me talk about that, I did talk about distribution days in a previous video. I'll link that at the end of this one if you guys want to watch it. But I just wanted to make a note that we have a potential 5th distribution day coming today if the market continues the same way that it's going. And hopefully it doesn't, because I like trading up markets more than down markets, even though in the down markets you can make money faster because it falls faster than it goes up. You just have to be a little faster on your feet in those down markets, because you really get some big swings. But let's get into some of the other charts. All right, well, the first one I want to show you is the one that I bought yesterday near the close. This is ADIL, and this is pretty much what most of my stocks are looking like today. A lot of them don't have a lot of technical damage. They are down, but most of them are still holding that 8-period exponential moving average. So technically, they're still in an uptrend. I know in days like this, you just want to cut ties with everything and run. But I try not to do that until the chart itself is actually broken down, because a lot of times when the market is pulling back sharply like this, it tends to turn right back around, and it usually ends up being a buying opportunity. But we can see that ADIL has held that 8-period exponential moving average perfectly today, or at least so far. So even though I am down, I'm in this one at $3.22. So even though I am down a little bit, I'm going to sit tight on this one, just like most of my other stocks. I don't think I had any that were breaking down through the 8-period exponential moving average badly that I recall. Most of my charts are sitting like this, and I probably would assume that a lot of your guys' charts are sitting like this as well. So even though you're probably down in a lot of your positions today, technically, if it's holding that 8-period exponential moving average, it's a buy day. And I know it's scary on days like this, but charts like these, I'm just going to be sitting tight. But this is the first one I want to show you. I just want to show you that I actually bought this one yesterday, and these are the lines that I drew on it. This is my stop loss. So if it breaks below 254, I'm going to cut my losses on ADIL, and these are my two targets for this stock. Let me back out a little bit. I had to go quite a ways back to find some resistance levels, and of course the farther you go back, the weaker the resistance levels are. But hey, if you got to go back a ways to find some decent ones, at least you know where they are, because even though they are a year or two old, stocks, believe it or not, do bounce off of those levels years later. So that's why I like to draw those on the chart, because you never know which ones are going to be the strongest resistance level. But these are my two targets on this stock. Just under $4 and just under $4.75, and we will see how that plays out. Let me get into one more chart that I want to show you guys. I actually did not buy this one, but I just wanted to congratulate any of you guys if you did buy it. I put this in a video last week. I did not buy pets. I think I put it in the video when it was just busting above this 8-period exponential moving average and starting to trend up. Of course, if I'd have known this was going to happen, I would have mortgaged my house and sold everything I owned and bought that stock, and then I'd be doing super right now. But if any of you guys did buy that, congratulations. Unfortunately, I did not. But let's actually get into some other charts that are looking good. Believe it or not, there are a couple of them. First one I want to show you is PTE. This one was actually trading near the high of the day when I first found it. It's pulling back a little bit right now, but this is a biotech, and it's moving. It moved into a new high, and it's holding that 8-period exponential moving average. So if the market does turn around, I would expect PTE to have a great chance of being one of the stronger stocks. You can see all the nice volume pouring into this stock, so it's building a nice foundation for another move up. We'll see how the market goes. If the market does continue to go lower, then it's probably going to drag a lot of these stocks down. As of today, I am not going to take any new positions, most likely. I don't like to open a whole lot of new positions on a big down day. Because you never know if it's going to follow through to that downside. But I wanted to show you guys PTE. Let's go into the next one, which is RCON. RCON is in the oil and gas industry, and that has been performing very strong. RCON is still near the high of the day, and it has been following that 8-period exponential moving average up quite nicely. And I think with everything going on with oil, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if RCON is one of the next ones that really take off, because there's a lot of big green bars down there, so there's a lot of volume coming in, and this sector has been one of the strongest in the market right now. Next one I want to show you is ENOB. ENOB is another biotech company. If we zoom the chart out, we can see it's forming a very nice rounding bottom. But if we zoom in a little bit so we can remove this bar that is distorting the chart a little bit, you can definitely see all the volume that's been coming in lately. And it hasn't been pushing the stock up very high. So these are pretty sneaky buys. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit if ENOB is one of the stronger stocks if the market does reverse and continue higher, which I am thinking that the market is probably going to do that. I'm thinking that this today is probably going to be a buying opportunity, and I'm going to regret buying in, but that remains to be seen. But ENOB looks super good. All right, well, let's get to a couple of the questions. And this one was by Sylvie. She asked me if I would look into KULR. And KULR had a huge update yesterday on over 2 million shares traded when the average volume is right around 300,000 shares. So that is a pretty big accumulation day. You can see there's been a bunch more in the recent past. So KULR looks like it could be a pretty good stock. Let me back out a little bit. Well, KULR was actually a very thinly traded stock less than a year ago. I'd probably have to look into this one just a little bit more. I didn't get a chance to look into what the company's actually doing, but you can see that volume has been slowly coming into the stock, and it's becoming um, a more heavily traded stock, so it's going to be forming some better patterns that are easy to gauge where it's going to be going into the future. Did have that nice breakout, but a huge pullback, and it found support at the 8-period exponential moving average, and it is moving back up on the day. So that is a very good sign. I think KULR looks pretty decent, Sylvie. So I am going to keep this on my watch list, especially as it continues to show some more strength today and get back towards the old high. But I think KULR looks pretty decent. The only thing that's really concerning to me is the fact that it hasn't been very heavily traded for that long. You know, when you get one of these issues like this, I tend to stay away from them because you never know what's going to happen. Usually, when a stock is thinly traded like this, it has to usually start becoming more heavily traded like it has been before it does take off. So that is a good sign. But KULR, I don't know. I think it looks pretty decent. I'm going to put that on my watch list. The next one I want to go over is XPL. This was brought up by K Money. And he was saying that they make zinc for the EV batteries. So he says that's why this one looks like it's going to be super bullish into the future. And you've been right so far because this thing is going up quite nicely, and it's still only $1. So I mean, there's a lot of gas left in the tank on this one. But if we back out of it, it's kind of been all over the place, and it looks like it made a decent looking double bottom. It took a long time for it, and it jumped back above those moving averages, and it is starting to move higher. XPL looks super good right now, but I would personally wait for a pullback in this one just because, you know, you can see the trend really starting to go parabolic. I don't like to enter them when they go straight up like that. And if this thing does pull back to this support level right around 85 cents, I think I would definitely be interested in buying it, especially if their products are getting bought up that much, because this sector is going to be super bullish into the future. But XPL looks super good, so I'm going to put that on my watch list as well and wait for a pullback. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions about any of these stocks, or if you have any other stocks you want me to take a look at, please leave them down there in the comment section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, guys, and until next time, take care.